Ja, nu ska vi alltså prata om hur man kyler ner en människoskalp. Och varför man gör det och hur man gör det ska Catarina Mård Löwenadler berätta för oss. Och det gör hon i egenskap av sin roll som vd på Dignitana. Så jag säger varmt välkommen, och Catarina kommer att ta presentationen på engelska. Varmt välkommen, Catarina.
Thank you so much, Linda. It's a pleasure to be here. Each year, 3.3 million people are diagnosed with solid tumor cancers, such as breast cancer, ovarian cancer, and prostate cancer. Most of those people have to go through a very tough chemotherapy. And one of the major side effects is that you are losing your hair. What you might not know is that due to a Swedish patented innovation, almost 70% of those patients can save more than 50% of their hair. My name is Catarina Mård Löwenadler. I'm the CEO of Dignitana. And it's a pleasure to, during the coming 20 minutes, be able to introduce you to Dignitana as a company, our product, our business model, and how we can improve the quality of life for those patients. Because from a patient perspective, hair loss from chemotherapy is one of the major side effects that have an impact, an effect on your privacy, your identity, and your overall well-being. But who is best to tell you about that than our patients?
The thing that I think really got me and fueled my strength through it all was that my son, who was 7 at the time, when we explained to him in 7-year-old terms what was going on, he was let me know right away. He was really scared of me losing my hair. I mean, there was no way to get around cancer. You can't put it off to the side and continue on with the sports routine and the school routine. It's the first thing everybody thinks of. If it could give us an hour or half a day or something during the day where we just looked at me and it was like, okay, it's just mom doing what she has to do, but she still looks a lot like mom. And sometimes it felt like it was never going to end. And to get to that kind of post-healing and feeling back to myself was, I mean, I don't really have words for that. I don't.
So my name is Cristina Zuccaro, and I'm 37 years old. And at 35 years old, I was diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer. So it was important for me to keep my hair because I'm a very private person, and I wanted to be able to tell my cancer story when I was ready. I didn't want someone to just look at me and know, oh, she has cancer. I wanted to be able to tell my story with who I wanted to, when I wanted to, and also for my family and for my son. I didn't want him to know that mommy was sick. That was really important for me. But now with the Delta wrap, you really can feel the full contact on your entire scalp. The overall coldness is much more even. It's much easier to tolerate, and it is more comfortable. I go to work every single day. Some people don't even know that I have cancer or everything that I'm going through. I want other women to know that I didn't even know about cold capping, and I want everyone that has to go through chemo to know that this is just an option, just to feel like myself, to look in the mirror and not be constantly reminded of everything that you're going through, to look yourself, to have the confidence to push through. I would want every woman to experience what I have experienced.
So as you can hear, from a patient perspective, this is really important. And actually, when we surveyed patients in the United States, 96% of the patients were interested of scalp cooling. But less than 3% actually receives it today, because the awareness is low, the accessibility at clinics are low, and of course there is an affordability part also, because in many countries it's still not reimbursed. So how many of you, for instance, did know about scalp cooling before? Could you raise your hand if you know about it? There were some. That's nice to see, because I myself did not know about it before I started working for Dignitana. And so that is one of the missions, to make it awareness for more people, to give access to more patients that would like to have this scalp cooling. And the good thing is that we are seeing an increased awareness. We are seeing more clinics investing in this, and we are seeing reimbursement kicking off, specifically in the United States. So that will make it affordable for more patients. So Dignitana's vision is to ensure that every single cancer patient that would like to have this will maintain their dignity and quality of life during and after cancer treatment. And our mission and purpose is to help patients address this adverse effect of cancer treatment by providing this clinically superior scalp cooling and other beneficial products that are both accessible and affordable. And we do that with our solution that is both then clinically proven, it is CE-marked and FDA cleared. And we do have patent, as I said. It's actually a Swedish nurse that innovated this product and did the first patent. Her name is Yvonne Olofsson. And it's a single patient cooling unit. It uses thermoelectronic to keep a very steady and precise temperature on the scalp. And that means that you decrease the metabolism and the chemotherapy doesn't come into your follicles. So that is how you protect your hair. And this device that we have now, the newest version, is smaller, so it's easier for the clinic and for the patient, and it's also battery for mobility. And maybe the most important part is that we now have a flexible wrap, cooling wrap, and that makes it possible to adjust according to the size and the form of your scalp. And that means that you don't get any spots of loose hair. So it's better fit, and by that you get better clinical outcome. And of course, to have single patient units is also very good when it comes to provide infection and control. Those consumables that you have is also then a reoccurring revenue stream, and service level agreements that is added onto this device makes it possible to have a sustainable revenue and payback of the invested capital. And our value proposition has really come from knowing the patient journey, and also the healthcare professional. So the device is made user-friendly with intuitive design. It's a robust technology that gives a precise temperature that is also very reliable, which is really needed from a clinic perspective. And as I said, the cap design is made so it's flexible, adjustable for each individual patient. That gives a better fit, a better clinical outcome. We also have invested a lot in experienced clinical team that are experts in scalp cooling, but also the related drug regimens that are used in different clinics. They are supporting the patient both before to help them with the customer journey, and also during and after, as well as training, of course, the healthcare professional staff. And we have also used the time during COVID and the pandemic situation wisely, because that pushed us all into working in a different way. So we have created a scalable infrastructure that makes it possible for the patient to get trained before their treatment, and also be able to provide information for them. They can buy their device if they are paying themselves, and they can do outreach and customer support. It's also available for the clinics, our customers, for online training. They can order device, supplies, and collaterals. And we also collect information about the patients and do benchmark between the clinics to be able to continuously improve the way we're working with the patient and predict what is best for each individual patient. And last but not least, we have invested a lot in reimbursement support, because now finally in the United States, we are reimbursed, and we have CPT codes. That means this will be affordable and accessible for many, many more patients. And this we do support them, both patients and clinics, with an online reimbursement hub. And the result of always putting the patient first is an extremely good customer satisfaction score. So when we surveyed patients in the United States, 97% of them said that they would recommend this to another person. And we can also see that by the patient going out and telling their stories in the newspapers, in the news magazines, in the television, and also some of them have even started their own foundation to be able to fund and make it possible for more patients to receive this treatment. And the market, it is a large addressable market, as you can see. Globally, there are 17 million people diagnosed with cancer every year. Out of those, around 12 million globally are solid tumors. And out of those, 3.3 million are breast, ovarian, uterine, and prostate cancer, which is the most suitable for scalp cooling. And that is where we have clinical evidence. So we have also excluded out of those diagnoses the ones that are on really aggressive treatment, because that is less good outcome of those, as well as some demographics such as age. But that ends up with a 3.3 million users, potential users of this treatment globally. And in the United States, that is our biggest market, that is around 425,000 patients. We also see that the investment in this area is, of course, increasing. So the cancer medicine spending in $1 billion is increasing over the year and is predicted to continue to increase. And as you see, United States is the biggest one, and after that we see Europe. But we also see the emerging markets like India, China, Brazil coming up. But you also see a single market out there, and that is Japan. And that is, of course, both because of the aging population, but they're also investing a lot in giving more of those people treatment for cancer. And that is also why we now have a collaboration with Konica Minolta, and we will make this treatment accessible for the patients in Japan beginning of next year. And as I said before, there is a strong consumer interest in this. 96% of potential patients are interested in scalp cooling today. And hair loss is the most troublesome side effect from chemotherapy. And actually, as much as 8 to 10% of female patients refuse chemotherapy due to concern over hair loss. To become a scalp cooling standard of care, it's important also to have support of the medical professions, the healthcare associations, and that we do have, and it's also expanding. So today we have National Comprehensive Cancer Network, we have American Medical Association, we have European Society for Medical Oncology, we have the Public Health in Australia, that all support the standard of care using scalp cooling. And we even see now oncologists in Sweden taking this app in their national guideline as something to recommend for the patients. And of course, to be able to get acceptance at the clinics, you also need clinical evidence. And that we do have, that is required to be FDA approved. And one of the biggest one and most widespread is the one in the Journal of the American Medical Association that showed that Dignitana prevented loss of hair in 66.3% of the patient. But also important, it was seen that scalp cooling treatment was well tolerated by the patients, and that there were no scalp metastases has been observed. And that one is an important one because that has been something that many oncologists has been afraid of. That could this make that you get metastases, brain metastases. But in those studies, this study and coming studies that has been published after this one, it is no significant increase of those in the patients receiving scalp cooling. So, all this, of course, end then up in reimbursement. And the good thing is that we now see in the United States, reimbursement expand patient access and provides revenue opportunities to the providers. Because we have now, since last year, got a CPT code. And Medicare, beginning of this year, gave an amount of $1,850 per patient as a recommended reimbursement for this treatment. But we are still a category 3, and that means new technology. And what does that mean then from a payment perspective? That means that they recommend it, but it's up to the insurance companies to decide if they want to pay it and how much. It's a recommendation. When you become a standard of care, you go up to category 1, then it becomes standard, and then most of the claims filed will be paid by most of the insurance companies, and also to a higher amount. And that is what we're working on. And how you get from category 3 to category 1 is that you need to have clinical evidence. We do have that. You need to have support from healthcare professionals and associations, and we do have that. But then you also need to have a critical number of claims filed and accepted by insurance companies. And that is what we are working on now. And the good thing is that we see more and more clinics start to actually send in claims. Before, they didn't thought they get paid, and they didn't bother about trying to get paid for it. But as long as we start to send claims and get accepted, then more will have easier to get paid at the first time and to a higher amount. So we see a good progress in US, and we would like to take that learning also into other markets. Because this is how the business model looks like. In US, we are leasing out the device. So the clinic pays a leasing fee per month, and then either the patient pays for the patient kit, or the hospital pays for the patient kit and either give it to the patient or take a fee from the patient for it. And that was it. But today now, either the patient, if they have paid, they can claim their insurance company and get some or all money back. But now also the clinic can do that. And that means a less risk for the patient. So the clinic has actually started to send in claims and get paid. And that means that we now see so many more patients actually giving access to this treatment. In Europe and rest of the world, we have the tradition of selling the device. That means that the clinic buys the device, and then they buy patient kit and give them to the patient. But many times they need a foundation behind them, because we all know that healthcare spendings is a scarce resource. So many of, for instance, in Italy, there is a lot of cancer foundation that is then buying the devices to the hospitals, and they provide the patient with it. But we also see some reimbursement kicking in now, and we have a big clinic in Germany called Mama Center that we actually try the concept from US where we lease the device and they also then get reimbursed. And if we look into how we are on the map, on the country map, we have an old device called C3 that is on the gray zones, but now we have introduced a new Delta, the superior product Delta in the blue countries. And then also we have the dotted ones, that is Japan, that we're going to introduce next year. So we are present today around 30 countries. And if we look into the shareholder structure, it's a stable shareholder structure, and we are happy that they have been with us for a while, and they still believe in us and support us, which is, as you heard, very important in those days. And if we go into financial highlights, from the Q2, we had a net sales of 18.3 million SEK, and that was a 30% increase since last year. And if we look at the total revenue, that is 24.1, and that is a 40% increase, impacted, of course, with a very favorable currency. But that has also helped us a bit, and we were able for the first time to be EBITDA positive in the Q2. And we are consistently growing the average daily treatment revenue, which is an important KPI for us, as well as the utilization of each device. because the whole thing is that we want to treat more patients, not only placing out more devices. And we have invested in an experienced medical tech management team. So many of our management team have long experience from big, large global medtech companies. Myself, I've been CEO for 2 medtech companies in the O&P industry. And I've been working and living both in Europe and US and been spending a lot of time also with customers in Asia, specifically Japan and China. But I have also spent 10 years with IKEA as the Vice President of Global Product Development and Global Supply for all the 60+ markets where IKEA is present. So we are investing in competence to be able to take on this huge opportunity that we see in front of us. And our ambition going forward is that we want to treat over 30,000 patients from now on to 2025. And a positive cash flow achieved in 2023. A compounded annual growth of 50%. And, most important, maintain the high patient satisfaction. And that we do believe that we will do by continue to increase utilization. And that means that we do clinical education, we redeploy, and we target clinics with high patient flow. We also continue with the reimbursement support and expanding that to both clinics and patients. And our Dignitana direct patient portal and facility portal will support us. We see huge success in that in the US, and we are now planning to roll that out on a global level. And further, we are going to increase market activities for awareness. We will accelerate device placement, and we will also focus on customer-focused product development. And continuously, as I said, invest in critical competences, strong partnership, and also more clinical studies. And that was what I wanted to say, and thank you all for listening. And of course, I'm open to question. And question is, by the way, fine to do in Swedish.
Thank you so much. So let's switch to Swedish right now. So, och ni är välkomna att ställa frågor via YouTube-chatten eller sms. Jag tänkte på en sak. De personer som jag känner, kvinnor som har drabbats av bröstcancer och fått det här håravfallet. Deras hår har blivit väldigt annorlunda, åtminstone precis efter en behandling. Hur händer det med er hjälp också, eller blir håret, är det som alltid, det alltid har varit?
Håret påverkas ju, och det är ju antingen så kan man ju tappa allt hår, eller så tappar man delar av håret, eller så blir hårkvaliteten sämre. Men vad vi har sett, det är ju, vi har ju klinisk evidens för att man kan spara mycket av till och med 50% och mer av håret, och en del behåller det helt och hållet. Men även de som tappar en del ser man att de får snabbare återväxt och bättre kvalitet. Men det har vi inte klinisk evidens för. Så det skulle vi vilja göra mer studier på.
Det var intressant, för jag tänkte nämligen fråga vad var det ni ville göra de här kliniska studierna för? Men det var alltså en sån sak.
Detta är definitivt en sak, att vi vill bevisa också att vi ser en bättre återtillväxt och bättre kvalitet. Sen vill vi också titta, för det kommer ju nya typer av kemoterapibehandlingar. Och vi hörde ju här i början att det finns en kombination med immunterapi. Och hur påverkar det? Vi vill titta på flera olika regimer och se hur skalpkylning påverkar dem. Vi kan se att det har bättre effekt på vissa. Taxane till exempel. Andra är lite svårare.
Var är det bättre effekter på?
Taxane, en typ av kemoterapi där det då har en bättre effekt än på vissa andra. Och det är ju hur tuff kemoterapin verkar, hur länge den stannar kvar i din kropp. Och det är därför man kyler före man får kemoterapin. Sen sitter man i kylning under terapin, och sen så har man också efter. Men har man då en kemoterapi som stannar kvar i kroppen länge, så finns det ju risk att även när man har avslutat sin kylning så kan det påverka hårcellerna.
Jag förstår. Men Jag håller med dig när du sa inledningsvis att jag kände inte till att det här var möjligt. Det är ju så konstigt eftersom metoden eller vetskapen att om man kyler ner skalpen så minskar det risken för håravfall. Den är ju egentligen inte så ny. Varför tror du att jag och till och med du och många här också förstår inte kände till det? Vad beror det på att det är så okänt?
Ja, det var som sagt den första frågan jag ställde mig eftersom jag inte visste om det här innan jag började på Dignitana. Det har funnits sedan 70-talet. Man började Yvonne som sjuksköterska. Hon började att lägga is på skalpen och man såg att det fick en effekt. Men att lägga is på skalpen gör att du får frostskador och det håller ju inte samma nivå och du får byta. Så nu har vi ju tagit fram en väldigt högteknologisk maskin som håller exakt samma temperatur hela tiden. Och du har en gel som går runt och håller temperaturen.
Så du svarar att det helt enkelt varit för opraktiskt?
Det har varit för opraktiskt. Så nu är det mer lättillgängligt.
Men det verkar ju vara en svensk innovation. Vad ger det dig någon skjuts i försäljningen att vi är att det är ett svenskt bolag på något sätt eller en svensk uppfinning på något sätt?
Nej, jag skulle inte säga det. Uppfinningen i sig är vad som är värdefull och den har ju fått bäst genomslagskraft i USA. Vi har ju vår större del av vår försäljning där och vi har otroligt bra läkare som promotar det där. Jag tror, för jag har frågat mig det också i Sverige, varför det inte har fått bättre genomslagskraft. Många läkare har varit oroliga för metastaser. Okay. Men som sagt, vi har den här multistudien som har visat att det inte finns någon signifikans risk för det. Och vi har också fler studier som har visat det bland annat i Holland. Så att jag hoppas nu med de nya studierna att fler läkare också ska förstå att absolut det viktigaste är att rädda liv. Men om vi kan också förbättra livskvaliteten för de patienter som går igenom väldigt tuff behandling så är det värt det.
Med livskvaliteten, det låter ju jättebra. Jag tror man kan föreställa sig också att det är väldigt stärkande att inte behöva förlora håret mitt i allt det som det innebär att vara drabbad av cancer och sådär. Men är det liksom bara en estetisk effekt som ni kan bidra till eller finns det några andra mätbara effekter som inte bara är det man ser så att säga?
Ja, och det är ju faktiskt någonting som vi också vill titta på. För att det är ju inte estetiskt när det påverkar din psykologi. När det påverkar din vardag så är det ju inte bara estetik. Utan det är någonting som är viktigt och som vi har sett då 8-10% väljer att inte använda kemoterapi. Och därmed tar man ju bort en möjlighet att förlänga livet.
Så du menar att det här skulle då kanske hjälpa att fler skulle ta steget att välja en behandling som kanske hjälper dem?
Om vi tittar på statistiken så finns det ju en möjlighet att få de här 8-10 att kanske våga ha kemoterapi. Men som sagt, framförallt är det livskvaliteten, att din hälsa överhuvudtaget i den här perioden är viktig. Men det behövs mer studier för det också.
Ja, men hur pass säker kan man vara att det här inte minskar effekten av kemoterapi då? Kan vi veta det?
Och det är precis det som de här studierna, den här multistudien som bland annat Dr. Rogo från UCSF i San Francisco har varit ledande i. Och det har visat att man inte får någon mindre effekt av det. Och det har också följts upp av andra studier i Holland.
Ja. Tack. Jag måste fråga, vi har lite problem här med klockan. Ska vi avrunda där eller vad har vi mer tid? Den här nedräkningsklockan. Vad säger du Mats i kontrollrummet? Men hur de här två systemen som ni har nu, Dignitap Scalp Cooling, New Dignitap Delta och Dignitap C3, har de olika målgrupper skulle du säga? Eller?
Nej, utan C3 är den gamla varianten. Den har inte den hygieniska kundanpassade kappen så att säga. Den är större. Så vi förminskat den, fått en mer exakt temperatur och bättre anpassning. Så vi har ju planen att byta ut alla C3 mot Delta inom de närmaste 2 åren.
Okej. Och kommer det att bli ett intäktsboost då eller är det någonting som ni finansierar åt kunderna så att säga?
det kommer ju definitivt göra så att det kommer nya intäkter. Det här är en bättre produkt. Det är också så att man har betalt per patient och behandling. Vilket är betydligt bättre och ger då också, se till också att man ökar antalet patientflöde per device. Så det ses som ett fördel för alla.
Tusen tack. Och vad blir den viktigaste nästa milstolpen för er? Är det de här nya att byta ut maskinerna, eller vad blir det viktigaste som händer i närtid?
Ja, man kan säga att i Europa och rest of the world är det att uppgradera helt enkelt. I USA är det definitivt reimbursement, där vi jobbar stenhårt nu tillsammans för att få gå upp till kategori 1 och få standard of care. Så fler patienter har tillgång.
Då får jag önska dig stort lycka till med det och tack för din presentation. En varm applåd.